Welcome to Coastal Conversations, the weekly podcast from Coastal Church, where we explore meaningful topics that shape our daily lives as followers of Christ. In Colossians 4:6, Paul encourages us to let our conversations be full of grace and seasoned with salt so that we can respond wisely to everyone. Through this podcast, we aim to live out that calling together. Thanks for tuning in. Well, welcome back to a new series of Coastal Conversations. Thanks for listening today. We have a return guest with us today, and he is one of your favorites. Pastor Chad is with us today because we have just come out of our long and so just good series on the book of Nehemiah. It was so good. We had our journals. We all took great notes. I think that this series is one that's going to last with us a really, really long time. And we have some exciting things coming with that series. That's not the last you're going to see of that Building My Life series, I promise you. And then we just came out of Easter last week. We had an epic Easter here at Coastal. We had goats on the stage at both of our campuses. We learned that God not only covered our sins, but he took our sins away. And that is such an encouraging thought. And it was such a great picture of what Jesus did for us on Easter. And it was really exciting to see everybody on campus, and the campuses were full, and we got great pictures of everybody. It was just an exciting weekend. But now we are moving into a new series for this summer. And it's going to be called Find Your People. Find Your People is going to be our new series this summer. And so we're bringing Pastor Chad on today to talk about this and why this is such a pivotal series for our church. So help me welcome Pastor Chad back. Hi.
Hi, glad to be here.
Good to see you.
Also, congratulations, whole podcast team, on you celebrating. You started 1 year ago today, and look at how many.
Look at you.
Or not 1 year ago today,
Yeah.
1 year ago this month.
This month. That's
and
right.
Here y'all are, killing it.
I know.
So,
it has been so much fun. Thanks for letting us do it.
You're welcome.
Well, we're going to jump right in on our topic today. You began talking to our team several months ago about a problem that you were noticing and that you had been thinking about for a while. And then you began to read this article that just kind of confirmed what you had already noticed. And it solidified that, and it built this burden in you. Talk a little bit about this loneliness epidemic that you've been seeing, and how this article, or several articles actually, that you
3 books,
that you shared with us, created this burden in you for our next series called Find Your People.
Well, first off, the way the burden has come in is because this is what our community needs. Mm. Our church is very good at being friendly. I would put ours up against anybody if there was a contest. I'd say, hey, look, we're really good on the friendly stage. But our community where we live, it's very hard to make friends. Let's just say that you're a new couple, you're working in Mobile, living on the Eastern Shore, and if you don't have kids at the ballpark, it's almost impossible to make friends. Somebody's got to be intentional about making relationships happen. And so what we're seeing, not only nationwide, now the nationwide statistics, we'll share a lot of that, but what we're hearing when people move here from other places is Eastern Shore is very friendly, and the Eastern Shore there's a lot of opportunities. There's so many cool things to do here. But if you're not from here, it's hard to make friends.
Yes. And we are seeing our communities growing at such a rapid pace that it could even be more difficult.
And they're not just moving from other places on the Gulf Coast, like so-and-so moved in from Navarre Beach, or so-and-so moved in from Biloxi. That's always been kind of common around here, or New Orleans or Baton Rouge. But what you're hearing now is, I'm meeting more people from Minnesota. I'm meeting more people from Chicago.
Yes.
And I mean, just places from the northern, like, we love everything that we've seen, but there's a tinge of loneliness in their voice. And so they're like, we're really glad we found this place. And so now we want to be really intentional about about making relationships and friendships.
And so this burden about this loneliness thing was only solidified when you heard that our last Surgeon General declared loneliness as an epidemic.
He declared this in 2019 before COVID. So COVID only exacerbated the loneliness
factor. Yeah.
And they were already noticing certain trends where, like, we used to, when we were teenagers, we used to go and hang out. Hanging out was, teenagers don't do that anymore.
No, they hang out online, but not in person.
Yeah, it was, we just used to go to the mall, go to the movies and stuff like that. Matter of fact, they're saying that teenagers are postponing getting their driver's license for years. Like, man, on our 16th birthday, we were right there in line getting our stuff. Nah, not anymore.
Why do you think it's so difficult for adults to form deep friendships?
Because we've gotten a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah.
And, only when God allowed us to buy another house again, and when we moved back here, we just said, hey, look, we're going to be very intentional neighbors where everybody knew us. They knew what we were doing. Went to every door on our first, when we were renting, introduced ourselves, letting everybody know we were pastors. If there's anything we could be praying for them. And, some people opened up, some said no, but I at least wanted them to know. And it also puts you in a way to be accountable, to be a Christ follower in everything that you do. But now I think our neighbors know Chad leaves at dark, gets home at dark. But when I'm cutting the grass and the other stuff like that, I always want to be one of the, whenever I cook, I'm cooking massive amounts for all of our neighbors and stuff like that, where I just want to be, I want to matter in their life.
So deep friendships for adults are hard because of a time factor, because we have responsibilities.
Sure.
We're working, we're taking care of children. We are, doing different things that we have to do, responsibilities around running errands and that before and after work and doing all of that. So it's the time factor as well, is that sometimes we have to stop and make intentional time to form these relationships.
Yeah. Well, and we kind of got used to not having fun anymore because life is work.
Yeah.
And I remember I was telling somebody the other day, my dad, he traveled 48 weeks out of the year, came home, usually flew in early Friday morning and either flew out Sunday night or early Monday morning. And my dad's only luxury in this world was a Sunday afternoon nap. And so, I look at this and I was like, man, there wasn't an awful lot of fun. And so we're busy earning a living, but what I'll talk about is this weekend is loneliness. It's raising up, and it sends us warnings, kind of like hunger does, that something's off.
Yeah.
When we don't feel things, it's kind of like, you're not in community. You're not having enough fun or any fun at all. I was listening to one interaction, and a guy opened up to his wife. He said, I don't feel anything. I don't feel joy. I don't feel sadness. I'm not, he was fine in his marriage and everything. He said, I just want to feel again. And she said, when was the last time you really kind of felt alive? And he said, when I was in college. And she said, why do you think you felt that way? He goes, because I had friends. I lived with 10 dudes. He goes, we lived in bunk beds.
Yeah.
And we stayed up. He goes, we split pizza every night, stayed up talking about our dreams and our plans and stuff like that. He goes, that's when I felt most alive. And I think ladies are a little bit more inclined to social needs and stuff, because they're a lot more relational. But dudes, we're dying on the vine.
Yeah. In your sermon this week, you're going to talk about, this kind of relates to this, how relationships are like muscles.
Yeah.
And building relationship is like kind of working out. Without going into it too much and giving it all away, giving your sermon all away, what are some signs that our relational fitness may be slipping? Like you just said, maybe you're not feeling things.
I think the feeling part is good. I think noticing certain triggers in your personality. For me, if I'm really tired, I don't want to do anything social.
Yeah.
Whereas like if Chad just wants to go home, he has hit rock stinking bottom. I think it's all depend. I remember how Evan responded to COVID. I remember it was about 6 months, and he looked at me one night and he goes, "Dad, you know what I'm learning about COVID?" And I was like, "What's that, buddy?" He goes, I really do like people. And I was like, "You're getting a little lonely for your friends, aren't you?" He goes, "Yeah, I think I'm ready for school to go back." So it took him 6 months.
Yeah.
But after that, he was ready.
So what I hear you saying is when we begin to feel things that something is off, our moods, our emotional battery, we're not feeling things correctly. Maybe that is a sign that we need relationships around us. We need encouragement. We need to build a support system that will build us up in those things and maybe bring back some of the joy that we've lost.
If I'm getting too serious, too frequently, I'm like, oh God, look, we got to go do something fun.
Yeah, and laugh and enjoy and go do an activity with people that kind of like, and I know so many times I'll laugh because I am an introvert by nature. I can do a lot of things by myself and it never has bothered me. Even when we were in college, I would figure out what church everybody was going to and I would go to the opposite one just because I was tired of being around people, you know, and I wanted to be by myself. So that's never been a problem necessarily, but I do feel like when I'm drained a little bit, that's when I need to force myself to be in those social situations a little bit more, to build my joy back up, you know? And I will always laugh because my extroverted self will make plans that then my introverted self will say, why did you do that? You know, like, why did you sign up for that? Why did you sign up for that group or whatever? And then once I go and I've made a commitment, so I'm going to go and do this. And I go, I'm so glad that I put myself out there, you know, and that I did it. Now, doesn't mean I have to do it all the time, but it does mean I need to put myself out there to begin to build those relationships that I may need in a time of crisis, right?
Well, and recognizing not only the muscle, but also your rhythms. Where I was telling you the other day, I said, this will be the year where I'm going to start being more intentional. I usually have a protein bar at my desk. This next year, I'm going to probably do a couple of more lunches. But the ones that work out the best for me is I'm like, I'm going to start doing more like Sunday. A guy wants to meet me for lunch. I'm like, let's do Sunday after church. Because I'm noticing I'm a better listener because I'm all talked out. I've preached enough and shook enough hands and stuff. And so I'm like, I think I can be a better friend at that time because I'm listening and I feel like I'm more present.
So maybe finding those opportunities, like this is a window in my schedule where I can be intentional about building a relationship. I am busy up to this point, but I do go to lunch and I do go to lunch after church on Sunday. And so that's a window of opportunity that I can insert a meaningful relationship that maybe was not there before. You know, how is meeting up for lunch, like we just talked about, or dinner, or playing pickleball together spiritually important for a follower of Jesus?
Well, I think that somebody was telling me the other day that he said, hey, look, I'm kind of feeling like God may be calling me into ministry one day. And this guy, he's a little younger than me. And so he's a late bloomer. And he said, I think I want to start, and he names a particular ministry. And I said, I directed him to the leader of it. And I said, hey, here's the cool thing that you get a chance to be able to do. When the Holy Spirit leads us, he gets us to try things on. And I said, I've always kind of had a drift towards teenagers and stuff like that. And so I was always good with them. And so I just said, I remember one time I got asked to teach a 7 and 8 year old class. And I said, I'll do it for a month. And I was glad that I did it because I showed my church that I was willing to serve. But sometimes you need to try things on and say, I couldn't do this for more than a month. But sometimes you get in there like, you know what, dude, I'm just really stinking good at this. And so I think you got to do that with relationships where you're like, okay, did not sense a love connection here. But there are sometimes when we do like our dinners for 8 and stuff like that during the summer, or the Mexican Friday night group, everybody wants to eat. You could have a 7-day-a-week group that wants to go eat Mexican around here. But to be able to say, you know what? I really connected with somebody. I was just sitting around, having some nachos, and I think I could hang out with them more. And that this kind of is one of those things. And come to find out, they've got a kid the same age as us, or they don't have kids, and they're. I remember when Scott and Christina Quick came to our church, brand new couple. They didn't have any kids or anything, so we always watch football together. About once every 2 weeks. Say, hey, y'all want to go to dinner? And Evan was super little. And, after about a year of just hanging out together, I remember we asked them, I said, hey, look, I don't know what it is about. I just kind of feel like we're all supposed to spend the rest of our lives together. And she goes, yeah, I wanted to make sure I feel the same way. I'm pregnant. Will you be godfather? So, yeah. I mean, I look at those things, and sometimes we're going to recognize that the only thing that we really have in common with somebody is Jesus. And then that's enough because, like Scott, Scott works on airplanes, and Scott's an engineer, and Scott loves building things, and he loves doing things with speakers. I'm kind of a jock, but I so trust Scott because of the Jesus that's inside of him. We can just kind of talk about being a dad, talk about other stuff, and I just consider him one of my dearest friends on the planet. And we can go like months without even connecting. But I remember he's got 3 kids now. We got a 17-year-old. But we can always pick up where we left off. We love one another and we trust one another. Yeah. And I thank God that was all hashed out over dinners and watching Bama football together. So.
And it always turns spiritual. Yeah. Every time that you meet up with Christ followers, there is a connection that builds us up, because we're not meant to do this alone. We're not meant to live life lonely. Being lonely and having this loneliness, was it a pandemic or epidemic? I don't want to say the wrong. Epidemic. Having this loneliness epidemic declared, and I think that's just the work of the enemy, trying to isolate, because when he can isolate us and get us alone, he can destroy lives.
And there's different ways that community is made.
Yeah.
But God did create us together in person.
That's right.
Not just as a church. Remember what we used to tell Evan, hey, online friends, they're kind of friends, but they're not.
We still have to tell them
they're not people
because
that you're going to call if there's an emergency.
If there's an emergency.
You need to,
But in their minds, like teenagers' minds that have grown up online or playing online games and things like that, have had to get into that world. To them, that they do share a lot of life things with them. However, as limited as we allow him to share, but to them, they're friends. Yeah. But it's not a real friend. Yeah. Like, it's not a friend that's going to come, like you said, in an emergency, or a friend that's going to be there if something happens. Yeah. So getting them to think in that direction as well. But like I said in my question, it's spiritually important for a follower of Jesus to have community and to build that and to be intentional about it. And that doesn't come easy. It comes over time.
Well, and it broadens you.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think the only people we can be friends with are people that we have things in common with. And that just couldn't be further from the truth.
That's right.
Now, don't get me wrong. You can have your jock friends and you can have your, the guys that you watch games with and go and eat wings with and you play pickleball with and stuff like that. But there's more inside of you than that. I love what Teddy Roosevelt once said. He said, it is a good thing for a man to have been a good football player. But at age 40, if all the man can say is that I was a good football player, he's wasted his life. And so what I have learned is that I can have multiple friends and have multiple things in common. And what I want to create this summer, I want our church to help create, is first off, find those things that we have in common. The things that you are already doing let's do together. And then you can be able to, those are about where 80% of the relationships are going to become. But then there's going to be some things at dinner you're like, you know what? That guy and I work in completely different opposite fields, or that lady, I'm fascinated by how their brain works. I'm fascinated by their story. Like last night we were at Pastor Tim's birthday party, and I was talking with his dad, and where I've known Mr. Ray for 40 years, and he was telling me a little bit about his childhood, the abject poverty that man was raised in. I mean, just stuff where you, and to him, it was just, we, during the summer, we took our baths in the creek, you know, stuff like, you're like, oh my God. And to them, that was normal. And so the more I'm around, I'm like, man, this guy is the greatest success story that came out of where he was raised. And so I'm fascinated by hearing other people's stories. You know, a couple of weeks ago, when we went with a couple from New York, they were pastors, and they're looking to, you know, they've been pastoring for 40 years, and they said, hey, we'd like to get with you. I said, let's go to dinner. And we went to dinner, and we heard their story, and, you know, I feel like we got friends for life now. And not an awful lot in common, but we're in the same, and we're in the same career. And so.
Well, you mentioned this summer what we're doing. So talk a little bit about what Find Your People series. Not only are you going to be preaching about how to form lasting friendships and find lasting friendships and build good, solid relationships with others, but Find Your People is going to be more of an initiative, a campaign that we're doing. So we've sent out this mailer. If you're listening to this in real time, you may have received it to a large portion of Baldwin County that we're inviting to our church for Find Your People. Tell us a little bit about what we're asking people to do and some of the groups that we're calling them. We're not calling them coastal small groups this summer. We're calling them Find Your People groups because that's what they really are. So tell us a little bit about that and that idea and what we're asking
Our
people.
goal this summer is for us to learn how to master the art of the hang. Dinner clubs are not going to be Bible studies. They're just going to be, now please pray over the meal. That's we want to do that. But we've got, I think that in every way, we've got to create social opportunities. Now, don't get me wrong. We're still going to have Bible studies. That's going to be separate from Find Your People.
In the fall.
And in the fall. But every summer, this is something where everybody that's moved into our area, this is going to be your opportunity to find friends. This is something where we're going to be very strategic every year. So we've already got tons of groups that we've personally recruited. This weekend and the next couple of weekends, we're going to give opportunities for people to say, "Hey, I want to do this," and they can step up and name what they want to be able to do when they want to be able to do it.
Any kind of social,
be any type of social.
I mean, please.
This is not going to. Again, we don't want this to be Sunday school at somebody's house. We just want to. Just for the next couple of months, let's just make some friends.
So we need people to step up beginning this Sunday. Really, we're going to have opportunity for you to sign up and say, I can, and this is just June and July. Here's the thing. We're not asking you to make lifelong commitments like you said. We're asking you June and July, which is our least scheduled months of the year, June and July, to step up and do something social. Put it out there. Maybe it's lunch after like you said, lunch after a Sunday morning service, a pickleball. We have lots of pickleball.
There are 4 different nights of pickleball.
We've got
we'll have up here.
Pickleball. And we'll have, what if you want to do board games? What I know, Caitlin, she's a young adult. You know what she's going to do? Get a group of girls together and they're going to paint their nails. And they're just going to talk and paint their nails, which is really random, like Caitlin. And if you're listening, Caitlin, we love you. But some of the ladies are playing mahjong, which is a big deal right now, and they're building relationships. Here's what I hear you saying, to our team and things that you want is out of this for us to find our people that we can do life with beyond this June and July.
And here's where I want for that 8 weeks. I want people to be able to go to some place and not feel like they're being sold something.
Yeah.
I don't want them to try to sell Jesus. I don't want them to try to sell essential oils.
Yeah.
I mean, just like, no, dude, we're just hanging.
Just hanging.
I think that is what is so desperately needed.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, whenever a guy asks me to lunch, I'm like, okay, what's the agenda?
Mm-hmm.
And where this is, the agenda is just, we want to create an opportunity for people to make friends.
Do they have to, during June and July, meet every week?
No.
Can they just meet like
sometimes it's going to be, some people are going to be traveling.
Yeah.
And like the one group that I'm going to lead with barbecue, it'll be once in June, once in July.
Yeah.
We're going to pick a meat, smoke it, meet at a place, not only eat it, but say, hey, yeah, I smoked it. I smoked this brisket for this long. I used this type of, share some recipes, chill out for like an hour and a half, and and just maybe guys who just like smoking meats and doing that. Like
I mean,
it ain't hard. And so, but
I'm birding.
Yeah,
I've got to find somebody. I keep putting it out there. I need to find a birder that will teach me. Why are you laughing?
I'm sure we got a lot of people, so I'm sure there's some people that want.
Why are you laughing?
I'm
putting it out there.
This just came on us, out of the blue one day.
I needed a hobby, and so this is the hobby I've chosen. Are you disparaging?
I'm not. No,
I'm going to find my birders. I'm going to find my people.
Okay.
My birder people. So we are asking people to step up and do these groups and help us. And you're going to talk about that because it's important for a Christ follower not only to be a consumer, but to be a participator in what our church is doing. And we're asking those, if you call Coastal your home, you can do one of these groups. Anybody can do one of these groups.
And what we want to honor everybody's journey, but what we are going to be able to say is loneliness at this point is a choice. Because you can't say there's not enough options. We've had people come to us where I found out where their pastor can preach me under the table. And I was like, what made y'all decide to land here? And I was like, I know your pastor, he can preach. They're like, yeah, but we came here because it was easy to make friends. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, he's a much better preacher than you. I was like, well, okay. So, but no, it was I know one group of, I think it's 60 and older. I think they're going to try to do like a potluck like every week.
Wow.
They're like, man, we just like all like hanging out together. And so I'm just making sure, hey, look, this ain't a prayer meeting, ain't a Bible study. It's just eating and talking.
Or maybe not even eating. Maybe just doing an activity, pickleball.
Yeah. If it's a dinner thing, then
walking, running.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do as far as an activity goes this summer. Putting ourselves out there. And then people that say, I'm lonely, I can't find friends. Then it will be a matter of us, if we say that, stepping out and joining a group to make friends, because it's not just going to happen. You have to put yourself out there.
Well, and discipleship happens at everybody else's pace.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we decided when we started our church is that we were going to treat adults like adults. If you don't want to come to a small group, you don't have to. You're going to hear about it every week. Nobody's going to show up on Monday if you didn't come to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
And we used to do a thing called visitation. I was like, no. You are 43 years old. You know what time church is. If you're not there, and if you choose to not be a part of community life, and you choose to not be, I get it, man. I want to give you the privacy you're requesting.
Right.
But at least in the back of your mind, you could always know at any time, I could be in a group.
Yeah.
And I'm as lonely as I want to be. And there are some people that are intensely private. There are some people who may be healing from some bad relationships and stuff like that. I get it, but that's not the norm.
Yeah. On May 18th, we are going to throw a party like we are so good at here at Coastal Church. And it's a Find Your People party on May 18th. On that Sunday morning, at whatever service they choose to attend, we're going to have a party.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that, and what do we get the opportunity to experience that Sunday?
So what we're going to do is we're going to have free food and free everything. Our service will go shorter in the adults. The kids will still be there. So there's going to be about a 25-minute gap between when the service is over and when you can pick your kids up. And then all over the place, there's going to be different
kiosk
and places where, hey, this is a dinner group, and so you'll see all the various different ones. And if you're a young couple, like, hey, dude, I could do like 3 nights a week. Mm-hmm. I could go eat fish on Sunday. I could eat Mexican on Tuesday, and then Friday night we can go eat wings somewhere with something. So it'll be all the various opportunities that we have, and so every year, like we even have one. We even have a group. It's one Sunday a month at 2:00 on Sunday afternoon, where people meet on our baseball field and hit batting practice. Mm-hmm. And so many friendships have been friends. And whenever new guys come in, they're old jocks. I'm like, hey, have you heard about the BP small group? Like, so you're telling me there are guys that are in their 40s and 50s out there hitting on the baseball field? It's like, yeah, every month.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, dude, sign me up.
Yeah.
And we got guys that actually drive from other churches across the bay from Mobile
to do that,
to come and hit batting practice.
So Find Your People Sunday, May 18th, they will get an opportunity to meet all of these group leaders, figure out which ones they want to participate in, and find their people literally on that Sunday.
It'll begin 2 weeks after that. So the next weekend is Memorial Day. Some people might be on vacation and stuff like that. And then the first week in June it starts.
All the first week in June.
Yep.
So these groups will go June and July.
Yep.
And they will actually get to connect during those months and meet people and build relationships. Yep. And we're going to learn how to do that. I think that's super exciting. Well, thank you. I think this series is going to be super helpful. We're at least going to not let it be an epidemic in our area. We're going to give people opportunity, and hopefully they'll make lasting friendships and not be lonely.
And the recovery movement we have is saying that you're only as sick as your secrets. Mm-hmm. And what we want to be able to say at Coastal is you're as lonely as you want to be.
Yeah.
You can have something, you can be as busy and as active as you want to be, where at 5 o'clock, if you want to go home and veg out and watch Netflix till 11 o'clock, that's cool. But if you also want to, you know what? I need to go get a workout. I didn't get one this morning. I know there's a walking group, and so it'll be. And then another thing that you got toddlers, are an organized time to go to the splash pad, where like the Coastal Women's Group with toddlers comes up on. All of our kids have nap times at 1. Yeah. So we like to get up there by 11 where they're good and tired for their nap. And
I had talked to a mom. She doesn't even attend our church. She was at the egg hunt, and she said, you guys will never know what this splash pad means to me. She said, I had just had a baby last summer, and I was in postpartum, and I was by myself all day, and I was lonely, and I was depressed, and I had this new baby, and I had a toddler.
Yeah.
And she said I needed some place I could take the toddler and not worry about the baby as well. And she said, so I heard about your splash pad. I came up here. Not only is it covered and I don't have to worry about sunscreen, other moms were sitting around the splash pad.
Yeah.
And I got to talk to other moms and not feel lonely and isolated and see that their toddler was acting just as crazy as my toddler. Yeah. And it became healing for her to literally just sit there and have a place.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we are praying. Our prayer, I know that's what our prayer is for this summer, is that things as simple as sitting around a splash pad will become life-giving and people won't be lonely.
And another thing that we'll be doing is that we will be opening up the Coastal Cafe.
Yeah.
Where they can buy their coffee and their fruit drinks. And there will be a coffee. I think they're going to open it up at like 6 to 8.
I'm not sure. Don't quote us on that because we're not sure.
But I know they're wanting to meet every morning. One of our part-time staff guys is going to have coffee up there. Like anybody wants to come and drink coffee and just talk before they go to work, we're just going to hang out in the cafe and do that. So I was like, okay, yeah.
I think that'll be cool.
I think it will be.
So May 18th, Find Your People. This coming Sunday, it begins our series. I really, really, really am excited about this. It's going to be a fun summer.
Our community needs this.
I do too. I agree. Also, May 11th, the Sunday before Find Your People, is Mother's Day.
Yep.
And we do Mother's Day big here at Coastal, if you know, at every single one of your campuses, especially here on the Daphne campus and our Bay Minette campus. We have professional photographers ready and waiting to take your family portraits. It's free of charge, and you're going to get it sent directly to your phone this year so that you can share it on social media. And
no more waiting in line for the printer.
No more waiting in line for the printer. It's going to be, we have technology, and it's going to be sent directly to your phone, and you can print those out at your own leisure, and it will be easier for you to share on social media. You won't have to take a picture of your picture to share on social media. We will have 4 stations here on the Daphne campus, so we're trying to make our lines as quickly as possible. You can come before or after any church service and get your picture taken at all of our locations. At Bay Minette campus, I think we have 2 stations set up. So again, that line is going to go very quickly, and you can come before or after any of your services. Well, it is going to be a great summer here at Coastal Church. Find your people. Do not live lonely. We are here for you. We're here to help you connect with others. We're here to help you build lasting relationships. Invite a friend to join you this Sunday, especially one that you think may be going through a lonely season. Invite them to be here so that this summer can be extra special for them. We love you, Coastal. We'll meet you right back here.
My favorite thing.
Oh, I've almost forgot. How did I almost forget? I was almost winding this down. Dun, dun, dun. You know why? You know why? I didn't have it written down. I thought, I won't forget that. This is what 50 Brain does.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Which leads into one of my new favorite things.
Okay.
Neurogum.
Tell us about your favorite thing.
Neurogum.
Hold on, let me set it up. We like to end every episode with a fun last question. And that question is, what is one of your favorite things?
Just kidding.
What is one of your favorite things that you think need to be our favorite thing? It can be a book, a podcast, a food, a restaurant. Pastor Chad, what is on your radar? You always bring us something interesting.
There are 2 things that I'm into now.
Okay.
There is a thing, it's kind of expensive.
Oh, gosh.
But there is a thing that you drink in the morning called True Brain.
True Brain.
And it's supposed to help with memory
TRU brain.
and concentration. And
obviously it worked today.
It's working good. And then this is Neurogum.
Okay.
And Neurogum also helps with memory and focus and concentration.
So you take 2 things.
Yes. And I'm noticing some good results.
Are you?
Yes. When I remember to take it. No, I sit it by my car keys. And I have Neurogum at the office. I have it in the car. I don't have any at the house. But
now, a few Sundays ago, you took it before you preached.
Yeah,
and
you
I
told me I preached a little. I was talking way too fast, but I had a lot of coffee, and
your brain was working faster than your mouth could go, and so it was a little fast.
But I can tell you this: it does help, and my workouts have been incredible.
Really,
I looked out one day. I was like, I've been lifting weights for an hour and a half. All right, this stuff maybe I took a little too much.
Why? Because you concentrated so much, you just kept going?
Yeah, I was just going and taking my time and working really, really hard. So, Neurogum.
Neurogum and True Brain.
True Brain.
Is it come from the same company?
No, it does not.
2 different companies.
You can get them both on Amazon, though. True Brain is in a little orange, like little pouch. I should have brought it.
And you drink it.
And then you drink it. It doesn't taste good, but it's not bad. But you can tell it because I think it's called thiamine, L-thiamine, that helps you. It's very good for your brain. People that have, it's not Alzheimer's, but what's the thing that
dementia?
Dementia. People, they're
it's
like,
working good for you.
So I'm not a scientist. I'm a pastor, but I know that the people that have struggle with this, they have seen great results.
Well, I am
But
so
at least
happy.
I remembered to have it.
You did remember to have one of your favorite things. And I appreciate that because that's what makes this podcast number one. Right?
Yeah.
Not so much.
Among coastal listeners.
Among coastal listeners. People like it. All right. Well, before we derail, thank you again for listening today. We will be right back here next week with a brand new episode for you. We love you, Coastal. Thank you for listening to this week's Coastal Conversations podcast. All of today's references will be found in the show notes. Also, if you enjoyed listening, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. We'll see you at Coastal this Sunday as we pick the conversation up from here.